But basically, there was this study.
It was a poll, a Rasmussen poll of 1,000 people. Is it okay to be white?
Yeah.
53% of black people said yes, it's okay. I think it was like 23% or said no, and then the rest were like undecided. They don't know. So then he goes, well, if 47% of people say it's not okay to be white, he goes, that's by definition a hate group. And then he started going on this whole thing where he's like, well, then I wouldn't be around them. I wouldn't live in here anymore. And he really went like, he just like kept going. You're like, we get it.
Yeah, right.
And he just is like going on and on and on about this thing on his just like YouTube live stream. And then in it, he kind of was like insinuating like, yeah, this is probably it for me.
Well, there's a couple. I know what you mean, but there's like a couple things. For one, because you hit the nail on the head. There was the first part where it was like, he kind of has a logical point where he goes, if 50% of the people in the world are black people, hate white people.
In America, yeah.
Yeah, I get his point. It's like the you can't fire me, I quit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if girls fucking, if we can't trust girls, then whatever, I'll just be single then.
Sure.
And you know what? You're better off like not even getting married and being with your girls if that's how they're going to be. Like,
yeah.
It's the same sort of thing,
right?
Better
off gay.
You're better
off just like sucking a dude's
That is the kind of
life.
what he's making. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like the obviously the part is where you go, well, do you think that? I go, this is where I would say the thing like falls apart a little bit where you go, okay, so we all, even someone like Scott Adams, I'm sure would admit that like media's polls are crazy. They're all biased. 1,000's not a sample size.
Yeah. It's
like
way too small of a sample size.
We always talk about like what normal people think. You go, even with like the heat of like, I hate men feminism, it was like online and then in real life, you're like, yes, the media has like muddied the waters where it's like, well, it's not like whiteness is like an idea. Like the same, remember when Will Smith goes like, Will Smith is an idea, not a person.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like they've muddied the waters where they go, well, they're not a white, like that's a black guy. That's not a white person. Like whiteness is like an idea that is holding
it's like
everyone.
A concept.
Yeah. It's like it's so muddy that I get the idea of people being like, I don't really know like what to say here.
Yeah.
But like if any of those people in real life, we all know someone that's like hates white guys, but like that ain't fucking 50% of people.
No, for sure not. I'm sure like there were a lot of people who were like, what was the question? They answered it. And then they were like, what was the question again?
Right.
And they go, no. We got it. Thank you.
I would say most, I don't get like any of that stuff. I feel like the only time you get, sometimes with like an old like Jamaican lady, you get a little like eye roll, like, but generally I find them nice. It's college kids that don't like white people, and it's not black or white. It's like Indian, white, black, whatever it is. Like college kid girl hates white people.
Yeah. So yeah.
Like they're like, your existence is like, they can't even believe you're still here.
Your existence is literal violence.
There is a certain type of girl, yes, and there are black ones, but there's also white ones and Indian ones.
For sure.
That's the only...
His thing was he just like the perfect thing is like you said with the autistic thing where he like just couldn't really get off of it. And then I listened to him in an interview with that guy Hotep Jesus, and he really just like is not willing to even concede like an inch on it.
Well, that's the part
like he's
where,
like talking his way all around, because he's all the
yeah.
persuasion guy, right? He's all like, well, and so the way he kind of talks. So he's like, I guess one thing he says like, I guess I'm willing to concede the sample size wasn't big enough, but he's like, my point still stands on everything. And
I mean, if you live on the internet in real life, that doesn't.
He doesn't though, because he's like, again, and I was like, people still read comic strips and newspapers.
This is my second point with him, because I actually know him like a little bit. And I actually, like I said, I do like him, but he is always up to something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
he said that was another thing.
That's what I'm saying.
He said, he goes, you know what? But this is fine because actually, like, I think this will positively like advance race relations. This whole debacle. And I was planning to retire soon, anyways.
Totally.
And he's like, I wanted to get.
He's a multi-millionaire, and he was like, maybe it's like whatever he's up to, he has a plan. Like, because he's not just like a total crazy person. He sort of did the same thing with COVID, like, because everyone was like, a lot of people were saying that he was like really like pro-vaccine and like his audience didn't like it, and then he was kind of taking the thing with like, even if like the information changed now, I was right before. Yeah. And he was just, he kind of just likes to go a devil's advocate, sort of.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He's a contrarian for the most part. And then.
Yeah. So I feel like he's up to something where it's like, whether like, even if the first one, he's not just like a manic person, in my opinion, doing like a downward spiral. He has like some sort of plan, I feel like, what he's up to.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't, he's going to make you think he does. Yeah.
Well, it might be a bad plan, but I think he thinks he's up to something.
Oh, no. He's definitely acting like this is all part of some grand
master plan.
To like fix racism.
Okay.
That's like that's the sound of it. He's like, yeah, this is going to like, I'm almost like, I'm going to take the bullets here. But like this whole thing will kind of
get like the idea of that, but I also am like, that's not going to work.
Yeah, and also the way he frames it, he goes, "But we won't know for 10 years, so let's
but
circle
we will
back."
know in 10 years that I sort of solved this whole thing.
Yeah, like I fixed racism, but for now I'm racist. But in 10 years I'll have fixed racism. So for the next 10 years, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
That's great.
But he kind of like pushes out the decision way out in the future. So.
That's super funny.
Yeah, but anyways, no more Dilbert.
Yeah, Dilbert.
Well, actually, no, it'll be on locals. That's what he said. He goes, Dilbert's moving to locals.
Part of the plan, dude.
It is, yeah.
Part of the plan.
Just like, I thought those are for kids, like reading comics in the paper.
He has so much money, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, he said
I feel like he
said it too. He's like,
I think he thinks like if you have FU money, you can do these kind of experiments. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he did
but
call
again,
it.
I don't think that he thinks
in the
that.
in the Hotep
Doesn't
Jesus
like
interview, he said, he goes, in about 2 days from now, I'll have lost everything. Like in terms of, like he says, and he was right. Like he nailed it exactly. He goes, everything will be taken away from me, I think, in about 2 days. And he says it so calmly. And like, it was 2 days exactly. Like,
like so crazy. Yeah. I mean, it is comical, the idea of you're like, if like, because I guess it like that thing where I guess his point to be making is like, you go, well, the media is like 55% of people hate white people. Anyways, look at this thing this guy said about it. It's like, don't you care about the thing? And they're like, well, no, if anything, we think that's low. I get why that's comical.
Yeah. I mean,
but I just don't believe it. I just don't think that like, it's kind of this, it really does. It's the same thing as like the incel thing a little bit where it's like, yes, you can talk shit about like women or whatever. And there is like always like a fight to be had like men versus women or whatever. But like the idea of where you're like, they're all against us. It's just like, no, people are just like people.
No, and then you're going to like, so what? We're just going to segregate everybody? Like, I don't know. It's not the real solution.
Yeah, I don't think that I feel
his solution was straight up segregation. It goes, we should just all go back to just.
I think the media wants people to hate you more than they do.
Yeah. I mean, the media was licking their chops when this happened.
And even actual racist people, the same as like, okay.
Like me.
Yes. The same as people that are white that hate black people, the same that people that are black that hate white people. Even most of those are like, yeah, but not the guys I work with.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
They're like, yeah.
Honest to God, I really think that like even girls that are like, I just can't stand men. It's like, obviously my husband's good and my kids are good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, abstractly racist more than they're actually in reality racist.
Yeah, because it's much harder when you're like having to actually be racist.
Well, the most
people
you exactly
come in contact with. You're like, it's a real different kind.
Totally.
Yeah.
So much easier to be like, I hate those people. And it's like, and then you're just like, well, obviously the two guys at my work that are like I share a truck with, those guys are good guys.
They're the good ones.
Yeah, everyone thinks the ones they know are the good ones, but they hate everyone else, right? And not just with that, with gay people, everything else. Like, how many people are like, oh, this fucking LGBT stuff is getting shoved down my throat. Like, obviously, Ted's cool. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Shout out Ted.